Hey guys, what's up? I got the Superpowers Wonder Woman. I found one that I like. Let's talk about her. Alright, so let's talk first about the box, as is normal for us, because the packaging is always the first thing that draws our eyes, which is part of the reason why the windowless boxes are starting to become such a thing that the toy community is talking about. It's not just the idea that these new boxes are easy to character swap and things like that. It's also that the display is not quite the same. Change is scary, whether it be for the better or for the worse, and we haven't really come to terms with just how to do plasticless, windowless boxes and whether or not to trust the idea, or whether or not it even actually looks good to our perception when we walk into the toy aisle. But these are very much a nostalgic buy from your childhood. In fact, if you remember the other video, and of course I'll put the annotation up here, if you remember, the whole reason I bought the Batman and Superman was this box. I walked by and saw this box on the shelf and said, Is that my old Superman? Sold. Sold. It was that simple. Now, the box has a very, very good picture of Wonder Woman right there on the front. The character itself is very visible and very true to the original Superpowers idea. As I said before, one of the fantastic things about this line is that it's not a re-release of Superpowers, it's a continuation of Superpowers. This is not the Wonder Woman that we got originally in Superpowers. This is the Wonder Woman that we would get today if Superpowers was still running, and is still running because of the way this toy line was designed to work, and that's fantastic. This is a new figure in the Superpowers line, still very much being like the other superheroes in the Superpowers line. The back here has a little thing that says, Wonder Woman has come to represent the possibility and potential of life without war, hate, or violence. She is a beacon of hope to all that find themselves in need. She stands as an equal amongst the most powerful superheroes, with a sense of purpose to protect the world from injustice in all forms. And yeah, I have often said, she's a part of the DC Trinity, and she earned that spot. It wasn't just given to her. It's not just a token character. Wonder Woman, even though her books have always been a bit of a roller coaster, they're either very good or they're very bad. And you take a chance every time you go to buy a Wonder Woman comic book, because you don't know where that storyline, where that arc, where the people that are writing it are currently taking it, and her artwork and depiction change drastically very often to be either, this is some of the best Wonder Woman I've ever read, this is some of the worst Wonder Woman I've ever read. But her representation in media has been very strong. Things like the Justice League cartoon and whatnot. She always is a standout character, and that's because there is a draw to Wonder Woman that is absolutely undeniable. She earned that spot as a part of the Trinity. Case in point, if she was to slip, they could easily replace her with the Flash and there would be no nevermind about it. But she doesn't slip. Consistently, even when she's in bad books, she is an icon that is undeniable. Now on the back, also, I'd like to point out that so far this line is not very big. If you're just getting in to toy collecting, if you remember the old Superpowers line, if you're like my brother-in-law who really, really, really likes Superpowers, and this is a line that he's really into, you can easily get all of it right now. There's not that much. We're looking at Superman, Darkseid, Batman, Green Lantern, John Stewart, if I'm not mistaken, that Green Lantern, the Flash, the Batman Who Laughs, Wonder Woman, Nightwing, and Deathstroke. And also, the back of the box here has all the names there. I didn't look at the names, but you get the idea. Also, we have a Batwing and a Supermobile. Now, for me, the only ones that I really care about right now is I bought Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. I bought the Trinity. That's what matters to me. It's the figures I wanted. However, I am in consideration about the Flash and Darkseid. Those two still catch my opinion, or catch my attention, not my opinion. But I would be interested if they released a Kyle Rayner, because that's the Green Lantern that I tend to gravitate towards. Let's open this character up and check her out, shall we? Let's go ahead and give a thumbs up to McFarlane Toys here for learning from a mistake very quickly. Taking her out of the plastic coffin, the cape, they didn't do it to this cape. In the last ones that I bought, the Batman and Superman, they put this little tab through the cape to like hold it to the plastic or something, and it leaves a permanent little hole in the cape, which is very irritating. I also think the cape might feel better. I wonder if I'm imagining that. Let's get Superman. Oh, it's without a doubt. So the Superman cape feels papery, I guess? Waxy? I don't even know. It's oddly stiff, and it's really irritating. I don't like it. It looks good, but that's it. And even then you could argue that it necessarily doesn't look good. It leaves like these weird crinkles as you play with the cape. You see that? You see what I'm getting at? Wonder Woman's cape feels like authentic, soft good, decent material quality. That is a better cape. It is 1,000% a better cape right off the bat. It feels better, it looks better, it moves better. Everything about this cape, lesson learned. You gotta give it to McFarlane Toys for releasing the first wave and already fixing what looked like a real problem. Because the capes, they were bad. Also, small thing, and I don't know if this is going to be true for other characters, but we're going to have to watch as they release. So one of the things that I said about Superman was that, well, I may not have said this. I think I said it in another video, but not necessarily his. His legs are really put together. Like, in the original Superpowers, and I realize this was because they had action features, but in the original Superpowers line, they had a power stance. They were like this, and they stood there, and their arms were out, and their legs were kind of out. She takes that pose. She has the power stance. Her legs are out, her arms are wide. It is solid. Let's put her on the rotator, spin her around with a couple of the other figures, and let's talk about some details, shall we? Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing right here is that this is an amalgamation of the Wonder Woman that we currently have now. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the current Wonder Woman that we have, her battle skirt and everything is there. This one does not have a battle skirt. It's opted to go back to the original bottoms, which is fine. However, she is still wearing the boots that are currently running in the new Wonder Woman comics, if I'm not mistaken, and she's wearing the breastplate and the headpiece. The headpiece, however, the circlet, could have used a red star. That's a small paint op that they missed that I feel would have been better if it would have actually been colored in and paid attention to. She does have the silver gauntlets, although they are plain, and they don't have the actual, they don't have the definition that we would see in the actual comic books, or even the artwork that was right on the front of her box. The belt is fine. Like I said, the battle skirt is not necessarily there. And the bicep rings, which I've never quite understood exactly what those are, the bicep rings are present, and that's fine. This is a solid figure. She looks stern and mean, serious almost, in terms of her face, but her head doesn't turn almost at all. There's very little movement in her head, which I guess that's fine, because when we're talking about displaying the people from the Superpowers, they're really just gonna stand there. These were not high articulate figures to begin with. They were figures that we played with when we were kids, and we didn't care that much. When they got knocked down, we just kind of dropped them and they fell down. When they flew, we put their arm up and they flew. When they punched a guy, we just put their arm forward and they punched a guy. When they kicked a guy, they put their legs forward and they kicked a guy. That's the way that these things were made to be played with. They were essentially 5-point articulated figures, if not 7-point articulated figures. I honestly cannot remember if their knees moved on the original Superpowers. That may be something that I'm seeing added to this line. I don't have any of my old Superpowers characters. As I told you, the two that I had left, the Batman I ended up getting rid of, and the Superman exploded. I told that story in the other video. So this figure is fantastic. But it's fantastic in reason to what we are talking about. This figure is a Superpowers figure. It looks great. She stands wonderful next to the Trinity. This is a solid figure for what we expected to buy, and at less than $10, because these things are like $9.47 or maybe $10 at whatever Walmart, depending on where you're going. These are solid figures for the price that we are paying. I cannot complain at all about these figures and the amount of detail that we get on something that is so simplistic that has to walk that fine line between being a detailed figure for nowadays presentation, while at the same time appearing like it did not step out or exceed the amount of detail that we could have expected had we bought something from the original Superpowers. You could easily set her in with the other Superpowers characters that you have, and she wouldn't look that off. And that's fantastic, because that is personally how I feel the entire line should be handled. So overall, this is a very solid Wonder Woman. No complaints whatsoever. Honestly, this is good. It will look good on the shelf, and there's always room on the shelf for another Wonder Woman. Always. And she just fell over. Anyways, that's all. Checked out Wonder Woman. I'm gonna get out of here.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.